Assalamu alaikum. I hope all of you are doing good. Today we are here with another topic or with another lecture of comparative politics. This is your lecture 2. I hope you have understand lecture 1. So now move forward. So why we study comparative politics? There are many good reasons, but three of the most are very important. We are going to discuss them in the detail. We can't understand our own country without a knowledge of others. So comparative politics is that कि हम अपनी स्टेट्स के बारे में, अपनी स्टेट की पॉलिटिक्स के बारे में, अपनी स्टेट के पर्टिकुलर इंस्टीट्यूशंस के बारे में हम तब तक नहीं जान सकते जब तक हम किसी दूसरी स्टेट के बारे की पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम के बारे में ना जानें। हम कब तक ये बात अंडरस्टैंड जब तक ये बात अंडरस्टैंड नहीं कर सकते कि जब तक हम किसी दूसरी स्टेट के पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम को इजीली अंडरस्टैंड न कर लें, हम किसी दूसरी स्टेट के पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम को समझ ना सकें, हम ये ना देख कंपेयर कर सकें, जब तक हम ये ना कंपेयर कर लें कि क्या हमारी पॉलिटिक्स में, क्या हमारे पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम में वो तमाम फीचर्स मौजूद हैं जो किसी दूसरी स्टेट के पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम में मौजूद हैं, आया कौन सी चीज़ ऐसी हैं जो हमारे पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम में बेहतर हैं और इनके उनके पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम में वीक हैं, और वो कौन सी ऐसी कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स हैं जो किसी दूसरी स्टेट के पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम में बेहतर हैं और हमारे पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम में दे इवन डोंट एग्जिस्ट. We can understand other countries without knowledge of their background, institutions and history. अच्छा जी, जिस तरह से पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम में के बारे में जानना जो है वो हमारे लिए ज़रूरी है, इसी तरह से हमारे लिए उस स्टेट का बैकग्राउंड, उसकी इंस्टीट्यूशंस, उसकी हिस्ट्री जानना भी बहुत ज़रूरी है कि अगर एक स्टेट में एक लॉ एग्जिस्ट करता है तो उस लॉ की एग्जिस्टेंस का क्या बैकग्राउंड है और क्या आया हम उससे सेम बैकग्राउंड से हम कर सकते हैं उसके साथ वेरीफाई, क्या हम उसके साथ रिलेट कर सकते हैं उस सेम बैकग्राउंड से. एंड इफ़ वी कुडंट रिलेट विद दैट सेम बैकग्राउंड, अल्टीमेटली मे बी वो इवन डोंट नीड दैट लॉ, इवन द लॉ इज गुड. Same is with the institutions. Institutions which basically work to implement the law, to formulate the law, to execute the law. So most of the times we have to see that what is the system of organizations, what is the system of institutions in that particular state, and ultimately what is the system of institutions, what is the system of organization in our state, and ultimately what is the major difference between our institutions because of which we are good or they are bad, or even they are good and we are bad at. Then history. Until or unless we don't know about the history of any other state, we can't compare our political structure, or we can say that even because of their history, ultimately they are at that position, and because of our different history, we are at that position. We can't arrive at the valid generalization about the government and the politics without the comparative method. ऑफ कोर्स हम कभी भी इस चीज़ को जनरलाइज नहीं कर सकते कि हमारी गवर्नमेंट और पॉलिटिक्स जो है वो किस तरह से रन कर रही है, कि आया वो बेहतर रन कर रही है या हमारी पॉलिटिक्स गलत रन कर रही है, जब जब तक हम कोई कंपैरेटिव मेथड अडॉप्ट ना करें, जिसमें हम एक प्रॉपर कंपैरिजन ना करें कि आया हमारा सिस्टम बेहतर है या उनका सिस्टम बेहतर है. सो वी हैव टू व्हाट वी हैव टू डू, we have to do a comparative generalization about our governmental structure and the governmental structure of another state, and we have to do a comparative analysis of our political system and the proper comparative analysis of an other state. Then understanding other countries, but this is basically a very major thing about the comparative politics, that until unless we won't be able to understand other countries, we will never get about the knowledge or the right things about our own country. So it is obvious that we can begin to understand the politics of the other countries unless we know something about their history, culture and institutions. It is important because what these countries do often affect us directly or indirectly. They impose important duties on our goods, refuse to sign trade agreements, or agree to pollution controls, don't contribute to international peacekeeping force, threaten us with the military force, or are unhelpful in trying to solve international economic problems. So why it is important to understand the institutions, culture, and history of another country, because ultimately they directly affect us if we have maintained relationship with them. What How they directly affect us, like of course we have to do some kind of import and export with them, and ultimately they impose import duties. This is basically a kind of law which is generated by them, by their institutions. So we have to understand that why they are imposing kind of duties. Like if the market rate of our good is in that position that they they are they are implementing this huge import duties, or market rate of their goods are even this high, or ultimately if this is the import duty that is making the price of that product high, and if they refuse to sign even trade agreements, that what are the reasons, what is the history, if we have any kind of clash in the history or in the back days, because of which they totally denied to sign an agreement, or even we can say ultimately the pollution in the world. So if they get agree to control the pollutions, if they don't contribute to international peacekeeping forces, like we are two different states, but ultimately we are affected because of the war situation in a third country. So this is the duty of both of us countries to maintain peace in that era, so that war situation that don't directly affect us. So whether they are agree to contribute to maintain that peace, threaten us with the military force, if it is that one country which basically threaten us with the military force, we need to understand that what is the situation of their military institutions, and how we can actually give them a right answer, uh, uh, so they won't do this practice again, or are helpful in trying to solve international economic problems. Like if one state is very developed state, they are at a good position, economic position, and we are the state who are a developing state, we are surviving with our economic issues. So we have to maintain relation with that other state on the basis of comparative politics. Like we will compare our political system, then we will realize that what are the grounds on the basis of which we can maintain relationship with them, and ultimately how they can help us to solve our economic problems. Why do they act this way? Knowing their history, culture, and institutions help to understand and explain their actions, perhaps change the situation for the better. So we have to keep that question in our mind, that why the state is acting in the particular way. We have to know their history, their culture, their institutions, ultimately to realize their acts, and we can justify our situation by giving them the right action, by doing the right actions ultimately. The strengths and weakness of cross-national comparative political science. Um, of course, there are some strengths and weakness of comparative politics. Political scientists can compare in different ways. They can compare across time, across countries, across different places or population subgroups within a country. So cross-national comparative research has some great strengths. Although we can compare within a given country as well as across different countries, we have already noted that one country studies can run into problems. So what we have to do, we have to do cross-national research as well. Like within a country, there are different concepts of political science, there are different concepts of doing uh, politics. So we have to do a cross national comparative also, that if we are going good at the state level, then we can go well at the international level. Then cross national method is more reliable because it allows us to test the generalization about the politics in one set of the circumstances, against those in a wide variety of the circumstances. This means we can put greater confidence in the reliability of our generalization. So क्रॉस नेशनल मेथड में क्या होता है कि हम किसी एक पर्टिकुलर एरिया के पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम के बारे में जान रहे होते हैं. Even in a country there are different kinds of areas, and in every area there is different kind of political system. So when we study about some particular political system, we are more able to understand about the variety of the circumstances, like if we are in that area, what would be the circumstances, and how we have to do the politics. If we are in another area, what are the circumstances and how we have to do politics. So we uh, can put a greater confidence ultimately in the reliability of our generalization. Like we can better understand our political system as a whole, at the cross national level basically. So pros and cons of cross-national politicals, it can answer questions of values, like most of the times, because we are the part of the state ultimately, so we can answer most of the questions ultimately, because there are some rules and regulations which are generated in our state, and we never know about their history even. It lacks evidence. Most of the times it is just the rule that is implemented. It basically lacks the evidence. It deals in probabilities, not certainties of the law. Like we just take a situation and ultimately we just put the in the political system. Like we are not certain about the laws. It suffers from the fatal flaw that it can measure is not worth studying. Every country in the world is unique, so comparisons are impossible. This says that every country in the world is different, so we can't compare our political system with the whole world ultimately, because most of the time the system is totally opposite, and we are not even able to compare the system. It deals in probabilities, not certainties of law. How? Comparative politics does provide us with the laws about how government and politics work. It can only make if then statement of a probable or likely kind. Like most of the times, it doesn't provide us the rules and regulation about that how the political system should work. Like ultimately in every other state the political system work differently, in every other state the government work differently. So we can just compare the good and bad things, but we can compare that yes, uh, we can compare it as a whole, like this whole system. It deals in probabilities, not strands. Every country in the world is unique, so comparisons are impossible. The importance of institutions, history matters, the social and economic basis of politics, the important of politics, the way in which the infinite variety of the detail combined with a few general patterns. So we have to basically keep all of these points in the minds whenever we are going to compare the comparative politics or the laws of between the different states. Thank you so much. There is this one quote: ignorance is a recipe for complication and failure. Knowledge can help us improve the matters. We can simply say what is comparative politics by putting this statement कि अगर आप किसी भी चीज़ के बारे में इग्नोरेंट रहेंगे, किसी भी चीज़ के बारे में आपके पास नॉलेज ही नहीं होगी कि किसी भी कॉम्प्लिकेशन को, किसी भी फेलियर को आपने कैसे हैंडल करना है, तो जाहिर है अल्टीमेटली देयर विल बी द कॉम्प्लिकेशन, देयर विल बी द फेलियर. अगर आपके पास कोई इल्म ही नहीं है, अगर आपने किसी चीज़ को कंपेयर ही नहीं किया, अगर आपने बेहतर चीज़ों के बारे में पढ़ा ही नहीं है, तो आप सिंपली यू कैन जस्ट मेक कॉम्प्लिकेशंस एंड यू विल बी अ फेलियर. और अगर आपके पास नॉलेज है तो यस यू कैन इम्प्रूव द मैटर्स. Yes, if your political system is not good, you will simply compare your political system with another state, and ultimately you will be able to improve the matter in your own state. So this is how the comparative politics run in the better, in a good favor of the state. Thank you so much. This is it for today. If you have any queries, yes, you can definitely ask. Thank you so much.